With Major League Baseball coming to its most exciting point of the year, there are many questions regarding which teams are going to grab the non-divisional routes to the MLB playoffs. Fans all around the country are excitedly and nervously watching as their respective squads battle for the postseason spots that are available without a divisional win in each individual league. I'm Jackson Tortone, and I'm joined by analyst Josh Bartosik and Anthony Desher, who will give their takes on which teams will succeed in snatching up these playoff positions. So, gentlemen, this season has been wild. From Tim Anderson getting dropped, to the Wander Franco scandal, to the Yankees being last place, a bunch of crazy stuff has happened. But as far as the National League wild card top contenders are, which teams do you think are really going to grab those spots? I'm going to start with you, Desh.
Well, there's several teams all fighting for their life tooth and nail just to get a little sniff of October. But I want to start with the Phillies since they are in the top wild card spot. Bryce Harper is back, and he's healthy. His power is back, clutch as ever. Trey Turner, he recently had 7 home runs in 7 games. That's a pretty good feat. Also, his jersey number 7. Makes sense, right? And you also have a whole lineup of guys who can put the ball in play. Bryson Stott, Brandon Marsh, even Jake Cave is making impacts on this roster. It's just incredible what this team is doing right now. With pitching, Zach Wheeler has been shut down. Aaron Nola, he's going to let up a lot of home runs, but he'll get the job done eventually. You also have guys in the back end of the rotation with Ranger Suarez, who's proved that he's not bad under pressure, and Taijuan Walker has some of the most wins in the MLB. So the Phillies, to keep this rolling, they might have another spot in the World Series. But right on their tail, the Chicago Cubs, just a game and a half back. The offense is lethal. Cody Bellinger, 2019's calling, and he answered the phone.
Yes, he did.
And they also have a rotation where the top guys, Kyle Hendricks is, turning back the clock. He's doing well, and when Marcus Stroman is healthy, he knows how to throw the pill well. But here is the Cy Young, in my eyes, Justin Steele. He gets the job done every single night. And when you have an offense performing as well as the Cubs are, you can rely on your pitcher to give up 2 home runs, or not 2 home runs, just 2 runs in general. And you can make sure that a guy like Christopher Morel can walk you off.
I do like both of those picks, Anthony Desher. I'm personally a big fan of the Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm just kidding. They're never going to be good.
I was hoping you were kidding.
I, unfortunately, as a Pirates fan, will never see that day. But I'm going to talk about the Miami Marlins for a bit, because this team is right in the thick of things. They're finally getting things figured out. Obviously, their bullpen has always been, and their starting rotation has always been the strong suit, right? Sandy Alcantara, guys like that have really been what everyone talks about. But they finally had a guy. He's a bit injured right now. Jorge Soler does still have 35 home runs on the year, and they're finally getting that power in their bats. I think you can really see them get that third, potentially move up to that second wild card spot. They're a very fun team to watch down there in Miami. And the Arizona Diamondbacks, bit of a skid right now, kind of going back and forth, have not really won a series to start September. It is early, however. But this is a team that's also really fun to watch. They were great at the start of the year. Guys like Christian Walker, Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, who's probably ended up winning NL Rookie of the Year, maybe Rookie of the Year in general. He's been fantastic. The issue right now for the Diamondbacks is their bullpen and their starting rotation. You need guys like Merrill Kelly to get better. You really, really need those guys to really step it up, because so far, these last couple of games that he started and the rest of that starting rotation has started has not really been as good. I do think, however, they are still in a decent spot to try and make that push, but they do play teams like the Cubs coming up. They also play the Astros, and then on the other side, they also will play the Giants as well halfway through this month. So a bunch of teams that are fighting for playoff position, but the Diamondbacks, I do think, have the ability to get it done.
Okay, so excellent picks from both of you. I think that the Cubs and Phillies maybe deserve it a little more because their fans are always there, they're always loud, and they've been that way all season. Diamondbacks and Marlins, not so much, but they are performing. So as far as the American League wildcard spots, which teams do you guys think are going to do extremely well in the playoffs? I want to start with you, Josh.
Well, right now, a team that's sitting pretty comfortably 8 games ahead of that wild card right now are the Tampa Bay Rays, who always seem to get it done. I'm not going to say the M word that the Oakland Athletics made famous back in the day, because they are kind of a modern day like that. But this team, even despite all the injuries and the shenanigans, like you mentioned, all that Wander Franco stuff, and the fact that Shane McClanahan probably won't pitch again this year, along with all the other injuries, they're still getting it done. Guys like Isaac Paredes and Jose Siri leading that way for the team, a top 10 team in the league in batting average, and they continually get it done. They don't really flash you with those big name guys besides Randy Arozarena, who's been awesome both in the World Baseball Classic earlier this calendar year and so far for the Tampa Bay Rays. He's been stellar, and that entire team has been really good. It will be interesting to see what they do pitching wise come playoff time. But they're 8 games ahead right now. I don't see them really falling out. And then the Seattle Mariners are another team that are just absolutely electric to watch. You've got guys on that team. Julio Rodriguez, obviously, they have a very, very good starting rotation, top 3 in the league right now. And they are just kind of holding on to that second spot. There are teams like the Rangers and the Blue Jays, who I know you're going to mention later, Desher, who are fighting for it. But they've got a great rotation, and they've got, like we mentioned, Julio Rodriguez. J.P. Crawford already has 3 home runs in the month of September, and he's never hit more than 3 home runs in a month in his career. And there's still about 2.5, 3 weeks left of this month. They still haven't won a series yet. So far, they just lost to the Reds. But I do believe that the Mariners, with the way that team is built and how solid their rotation is, will make their way into back-to-back postseason play.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I was going to mention the Blue Jays and the Rangers. And Toronto, Toronto fans, they don't seem happy about where they are. The AL East is always a bloodbath. But you also kind of look at the main guy, Vlad Guerrero. His power numbers are down, but he's still batting well in those leverage situations that require you to knock a couple of guys in. He's got 82 last time I checked. And you also have a pretty good 1-2 punch with Eric Swanson and Jordan Romano back there in the bullpen. So if you get enough runs, you can, go in cruise control a little bit, because Kevin Gausman has also been good in that rotation. But I also want to take a look at the Texas Rangers, who I thought were going to win the World Series. And now they're on this deep, deep slope. And it just has to do with their pitching. They can't hold leads. They keep blowing games. Their rotation is just constantly injured. Max Scherzer fix it? No, not really. Okay, because they just played the Houston Astros, who just hit 16 bombs off of that pitching. And I can't count that high, even with using my fingers. So that's a problem. They also had 50 hits in that series. Texas is down in the dumps. The cross-state rivals got the better of them. And of course, Houston is picking it up right around postseason time, like they always do.
They always do. And if I'm not mistaken, Altuve hit home runs in 4 straight innings in that series against the Rangers.
Yeah, he's killing it.
My goodness.
He's kind of good.
He's a little good, I'd say, yeah. Okay, so wild card talk, that's all interesting, but who are going to be the big dogs in each league? Which teams are going to get the number 1 seeds? I want to start with you, Desh.
Well, the NL is controlled by the Atlanta Braves, and it might just stay that way throughout the rest of the season. Their lineup consists of guys who have hit, several guys who have hit 20-plus home runs. Like Matt Olson leads the entire league in home runs. Austin Riley, he's good. They traded for Sean Murphy. He's good. I can say he's good. All down that lineup. And you also have a guy who has a mustache, very nice calves too, Spencer Strider. His K/9 ratio is just through the roof. And he's also another guy in that Cy Young conversation. And if that mustache is nice, I think a Cy Young trophy right next to the mustache might be nice as well. And if they can keep going, and I know they're pretty upset about that early exit to the Phillies last season in the NLDS, if they can, regroup. Oh, I forgot to mention, Ronald Acuna is the first guy ever to hit 30-60 in a season. So that's an MVP talk for another time. But the Atlanta Braves, I just can't shake how good they are right now.
The Braves are going to be good now, and are going to be good for a very long time, which how many guys they've locked up long term. I'm going to move over to the AL. This is a team that really has not been in the conversation for so many years, and thank heavens they finally are, because the Baltimore Orioles are such a fun team to watch. You can list so many players: Cedric Mullins, Ryan Mountcastle, Adley Rutschman. The list goes on. Gunnar Henderson. That lineup is so great and so young, and they're finally getting fans back at Camden Yards. The issue with that team, it really hasn't been that big of an issue, but the starting rotation has been a weak point. It doesn't really matter, because you got guys like Felix Bautista and Yander Cano in that bullpen that just do unthinkable things. And Felix Bautista is the guy's like, what, 6'5", 6'6"?
Big.
Big dude.
Big.
He towers
Big
over you on the mound. I know, well, I'm not a great baseball player as it is. Clearly, that's why I'm at this desk and not on the field. But if I was, my timbers would be very shivered when I see Felix Bautista out there on the mound. He is just that dominant. And this is a Baltimore Orioles team. Now, it might be a World Series or bust for the Braves, especially after their early exit in the playoffs last year. It's probably not World Series or bust, even really close to it for the Orioles, because they're just going to be so good for so long with how good their young players are and their farm system is. But I do think that you will see the Baltimore Orioles in the World Series conversation very, very soon.
Yeah, Jackson Holliday will be here in any second now.
Very soon, yes. So Braves obviously dominate pretty much everything. Best team in baseball, undoubtedly. Orioles a little bit, lower run differential, but more exciting, I'd say. Yes, both teams are certainly going to be the number 1 seeds, I believe. Well, that's all for this edition of Penn State Sports Night. I hope you enjoyed this look into the upcoming showdown in October. Once again, for Josh Bartosik and Anthony Desher, I'm Jackson Tortone.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. For more content like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, give us a like, and follow our socials down below.
And as always, we are
Penn State Sports Night.